All right, guys. Welcome to the show. Here we go. All righty. Welcome back. A Super Bowl of a Super Bowl. What a fun game to watch. Super Bowl Sunday is over. 54 is done. Now we look towards the number 55 for the Super Bowl next season. It's a Monday. Monday to talk about everything that happened yesterday. Man, there's a lot of diverse comments that came out. A lot of fun, a lot of talk, and a lot to get into right away here on this Monday post Super Bowl 54. I'm your host, Cornelius Brad Hanna, right here on Hanna Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Global Sports Broadcasting Network.com live streaming. Check it out. All right. Now, let's pop right into it. Go right into the beginning of this if we can before we break down the game and everything else. This is what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the turning points of the game, the pivotal points of the game. There was a bunch of them where teams looked like they had the game in their grasp. And big plays, big moments, things turned. What if? Kind of like the what if moment, right? Or wow, the wow moment. A recap for sure of the game itself. We're going to talk about that halftime show. We're going to talk about the entertaining commercials itself, and much more. Your comments also. Very simple, straightforward to this. A lot of excitement from last night. Good finish. The way you want to watch a Super Bowl. Coming down to the last minute. And it basically summarizes the entire football season the last couple of years, actually, where a lot of games are won and lost within one score, 5 to 6 points. It's like a very one possession kind of game in the NFL, and it happened last night in the Super Bowl. Chiefs win it. If you just woke up and did not know, but a comeback, their third comeback this postseason, down by double digits, which is a remarkable accomplishment. All three games they had to come from behind. So mark that down. That was a huge comeback in that fourth quarter. San Francisco scored the first 17 points after down 10-3. They were losing 10-3, and they scored 17 straight points to take a commanding lead into the fourth quarter with 9 minutes to go in the game. The great defense that everybody talked about that was hyped up and deservedly so in a lot of ways, but maybe overhyped. We talked about it was overhyped. Great, yes. But the way they were talking like it was the steel curtain or something. Far from it. The Kansas City Chiefs scored the next and the last 21 points of the game. Somewhat shocking, but you kind of knew they had one more run in them late in the game. And would it come against that Niner defense that everybody put it on the pedestal? Unbeatable. How could they? How can they beat a team like that on defense? We broke it down last week, and it played out pretty much the way it was going to happen if the Chiefs won the game. They woke up with about 9 minutes to go where things just went off the charts, and the Niners were lost. And once the Niners fell behind, they were done. They had their chances. They just were not clicking. And it was a rough ending for any Niner fan to watch that game last night. Extremely rough to watch your team just tank, choke. Kyle Shanahan, the second time as a coach of the Atlanta Falcons, not a head coach, when you had a 25-point lead on the Patriots, and you blew that Super Bowl with that offense. You couldn't score any more points. And then last night, you had a double-digit lead against the Chiefs in the fourth quarter. Kyle Shanahan got a lot more of a chip on his shoulder going into next season. If not, he's got a monkey on his back because now he's labeled as a maybe choker or not knowing how to finish a game as a coach. There is a label on him now because now there's twice in the Super Bowl. And then you look at Andy Reid, who went through all of that for a very long time. Andy Reid, the head coach of the Chiefs, who finally gets his Super Bowl. I'm happy for Andy Reid. I'm happy for him. He's just a good guy, real good guy. Here's some of the turning points. Then we'll turn to some of your comments and back to more of the show. The big turning points of the game, there was a few of them. These were moments where momentum changes, or the what if moment. San Francisco does not use a timeout with well over a minute to go in the first half, with or getting the ball back, and let the Chiefs milk the clock on the punt, not utilizing that clock, having a chance to maybe score 3 more points, would have decent field position, and they did, to get into field goal range. Every point mattered. It did last night at the end of the game. They lose by 2 possessions. Maybe you could have eliminated one of those by scoring some points right before half. Kyle Shanahan talked about it and said, hey, we put ourselves in a good spot. We were winning. It shouldn't have mattered. He made a good point. But then again, it's a 60-minute game. Everything matters. So they blew an opportunity there to add more points. A lot of time to do it. Played in fear. It was almost like playing in fear when you didn't call a timeout. Didn't want to give the ball back. You were getting the ball back in the second half, but you had a lot of time. Where was the trust in Garoppolo? Questioning that one. And then soon after that, they went for it. They had a shot on third down. They went for a long pass. The interference call that Kittle, the tight end of the Niners, pushes off. Matter of fact, he pushes twice. If you look at the instant replay, he uses his arm once, and then he uses it a second time. It really gets the extension out, and that was the big part of the interference call. He catches the ball, would have set up maybe a touchdown. Could have been a big part, a potential blowout momentum kind of thing, getting the ball back in the second half. All that was there on the line. But 2 bad things happened. No timeout, not saving enough time, and 2, the interference call, which was a good call. If you're going to call pass interference on the offense, that was the time. Then Mahomes. These are pivotal points. And the 49ers took advantage of it and scored points of it. But Mahomes threw 2 interceptions. Let's get that straight. The MVP is a question in my mind. Throwing 2 critical interceptions. He threw like 8 passes at one point, and 2 of them were interceptions, and it basically blew the game at that point. He was blowing the game, or he blew it. Poor passes, wasn't the same. He wasn't even close to being the quarterback everybody was anticipating for basically more than 3 quarters. And he got the MVP. Really, we'll get into that a little bit later. But he does make a big throw. Another pivotal, huge turning point of the game. The 3rd and 15 bomb throw to Tyreek Hill. Mahomes doesn't take a 3-step drop. He takes like a 6 to 8 foot step drop to allow his receiver to get downfield wide open. The throw was underthrown. Mahomes blew it. He had an easy 6 if he slinged it and threw it hard. He hung it up there. Hill had to wait for it. They got the touchdown soon after. That was huge. But that was the turning point. 3rd and 15, down 20 to 10, and you come up big that way. You don't come up with that first down. You give the ball back to the Niners. They're in control with 9 minutes to go in the game with the ball, blah, 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 and you're in trouble in Kansas City. It didn't happen. Another pivotal, big moment, and I thought this was a classic wide receiver versus a cornerback. It was Watkins against Sherman. This is leading up to the go-ahead touchdown for the Chiefs. Watkins put up a huge, beautiful couple of steps off the line of scrimmage, gets himself free, and just outruns Sherman at that point, downfield, down the sidelines for a big pass, completion inside or at the 10-yard line. 1st and goal for the KC Chiefs at that point. Great move. And I would have to say Looking back on that, the receivers and everybody else made some amazing plays, and all Mahomes had to do was throw the ball. And for the most part of the game, 3 quarters and more, he wasn't throwing the ball. He wasn't making the completion, Mahomes. The receivers were there. Mahomes was not, but he got the MVP. So with 4 minutes to go in the game, down, losing 20-17, Watkins makes the huge move, gets downfield, sets up the big go-ahead touchdown to Kelsey. Fantastic. No, it wasn't Kelsey. That was the Damian Williams reach for the goal line touchdown. That's what it was. Kelsey was the other one. Yes, after the Tariq Hill catch. And then another one was the 49ers' last gasp to take the lead. He had a wide open Sanders deep down the middle. He had a post pattern that he beat 2 defenders. He beat the cover 2, everything. Sanders, he was deep gun. He had 2 or 3 steps, and Garoppolo overthrew him. Overthrew him by 7 yards. And then having a last gasp Niner moment where you needed all your timeouts, you needed to make a stop. And not only Damian Williams gets the first down, he takes it to the house and ices the Super Bowl for the Kansas City Chiefs. I gave you 7 turning points of the game. Is there one that you saw that I didn't mention? To me, those were pivotal parts of the game that seesawed, that flipped the game in one way or the other. And most of them, if you read all of them I just said, were not in favor of the 49ers. The Niners did not have the most of those turning points of the game. The ones that they did were the 2 interceptions that they picked Mahomes. Those were huge. But other than that, everything went the KC way. The bigger plays. Gonna bring you in here. I got your comments. I see your happiness and your excitement for this. I have more game footnotes perspective that I took during the game that I logged, and I just wanted to just remind people, go back a little bit. This is a quick synopsis of the summary of the game in a quick way. Game notes: Damian Williams, big part of the offense yesterday. He was my MVP of the Super Bowl. We'll break down his huge numbers. Damian Williams doing something that nobody did all season long against those San Francisco 49ers defense. But he was a big part, catching the ball and running the ball. Huge on both sides. And also just being a key decoy and blocking. He had some huge blocks to pick up the blitzing secondary, the linebacker, or chipping a lineman at the line there. He gave Mahomes enough time. I thought Damian Williams had a complete game for his position, and he was a star last night. My MVP. Kansas City, Mahomes, for the first half of the game, was only 1 for 6 for first down. They were lame. They were lethargic. They had 10 points at halftime. The over and under was 54, 55 points when it all started 2 weeks ago. They nearly got over if somebody like the Niners scored that one more touchdown. It got close. But the under happened. A lot of people took the over on the total points scored in the game. Kansas City did something really good yesterday, too, on special teams. They did not allow the 49ers to cover. To return the ball. Kickoff coverage was fantastic. The kicker, the kickoffs were high and somewhat short. Never really kicked them in the end zone. But the coverage downfield was fantastic on the special teams for the Chiefs. Forcing the Niners to go 80 yards for most part of the game after those kickoffs. Huge part. San Francisco still lots of misdirection and trickery. They did a lot of misdirections, a lot of trickery. Made me wonder, why so much? I thought this team was a straightforward, run the ball in your face, let's dominate, let's kick ass. And they did trickery. And I brought this up last week. The reason why I predicted the Chiefs winning is because the one dimensional aspect of that Niner offense was what? Running the football. And if that running game does not and was not as effective, they had a few moments and that's it. It needed to be 60 minutes of it. And it did help them get a 20-10 lead. They were able to get into their offense. But that disappeared. The Chiefs never panicked on defense. They stayed to their game plan. And that running game for the Niners really was not a factor for about, I would say, 80% of the game. Maybe more than that. It wasn't a factor. The play action, Garoppolo faking the handoff and throwing was the most effective part of the offense. But once you take the running game away, who are the 49ers? They were not good. They were not good. Maybe they got a little complacent when the 10-point lead, 20-10, and they started running the ball, but it wasn't working. Their most effective runner was Debo, the wide receiver. He had like 3 or 4 reverses last night, accumulating 50-plus yards. They were doing so much trickery and misdirection. But I thought this was a physical, in-your-face, up-the-middle running game or getting outside on the edge with the running game. It was nowhere close to that. But they had to use the trickery, the misdirection. That told me in that game last night is that they don't have trust in something because it wasn't just once or twice. It was the whole game. They were trying to keep that Chiefs defense confused, tricked, fooled. But the Chiefs defense did not bite. They stayed to their plan, stayed in their gaps, stayed in their lanes. And they brought pressure. Garoppolo felt pressure. He wasn't sacked a whole bunch, but there was pressure, making him move out of the pocket. He doesn't do well when he moves out of the pocket. A lot of quarterbacks don't. And I did say to you on Friday, Garoppolo was going to throw an interception or 2. You can go back and listen. And I said he is prone to throw interceptions. He's been very fortunate throughout the season. A lot of dropped interceptions. And that was another key point of the game I didn't bring up. His first interception, where they were basically moving the ball. They were in control of the game. They had their offense going in the right direction. And he just threw a horrible interception to Breeland, who I thought was fantastic on defense, number 21. He led the Chiefs in tackles. He had his interception. He was fantastic, Breeland, number 21. Nobody's talking about him. He, to me, on defense, was fantastic. Now, more about this game. It wasn't a Mahomes type of game. He wasn't the MVP in my eyes. You got to play a full good game. You know, he had moments, he made throws, but his receivers made some amazing pass routes, getting off the line of scrimmage, getting open. Mahomes kept missing them. But I recognize what the 49ers were doing a lot. A lot of deep coverage. They were going to take away completely the deep ball, the big play ball that the Chiefs like with Mahomes. All that 20-plus yards completions through the air that Mahomes throws, leading the league, they took that away for the most part until late in the game. And all of a sudden, it just opened up and it happened. And it crushed the Niners that way. But for the most part, the Niners took away the deep pass. And not knowing what was going on, Mahomes looked confused. He wasn't in rhythm. He just was not good. He was not good, Mahomes. Let's get that straight. If you thought Mahomes was good, the last 9 minutes is where he started playing better. But his players, his teammates around him, really were doing the job. The offensive line for Kansas City, number one in the league, holding their pass block for 3 seconds. They were doing it. But what was happening was the deep coverage, players were not getting open fast enough, or their pass routes were longer, and Mahomes was making the bad throw. The pass rush went to 3 seconds, to 4 seconds, to 5 seconds. Mahomes was in trouble at that point. And that's where mistakes were being made. Mahomes was not getting the ball out of his hands within 3 seconds. That's where the Chiefs are dynamite. So the Niners did a great job of doing what they were supposed to do by their game plan. They kept Mahomes and our offense in check. But something changed. Mahomes got out of the pocket more, started running more. Got a little Russell Wilson when things were troubled. Get out. Take the run. Quarterback run. Get out of the pocket and just go. And that started happening. Another first down. Another first down. Mahomes got hit a few times. But Mahomes realized he needed to be a different quarterback, and it paid off. Chiefs defense was good, folks. Underrated defense. Terrell Suggs, you didn't hear his name a whole lot, but he was pressuring from the outside edge a lot and late in that game. His pressures were felt. It pushed Garoppolo out of the pocket or up to step up in the pocket. Garoppolo felt Terrell Suggs. And then you had Chris Jones in the middle of the field. And I said that before. Keep the pressure up the middle. Garoppolo stepping up. They really had the right players. Suggs was a huge pickup for them. He did not get mentioned a whole lot, but I felt Suggs had a huge part coming off the edge. And everybody else, Clark and Jones, started making the hits, the sacks, the tackles, the knockdown passes. But it was Suggs coming off the edge, just opening up almost as if it was designed. Terrell, just get the quarterback, go wide, open up a gap. Let our defenders and defensive tackles, stunts being used to get up. And it started working. And the Niners could not stop it. They were in trouble. They were reeling. But that defensive line and those linebackers for the Chiefs were so underrated by the media and by everybody that were talking the hype of a Niner defense. The Chiefs. And I felt the Chiefs were better than what people were talking about. I didn't believe the Chiefs would be dominant. I just felt they would make plays and they would not be embarrassed, and they're not going to lose by more than 7 points because Mahomes never loses by more than 7 points. Look it up. So I was not in doubt. I was thinking, they're going to come back. Mahomes doesn't lose by 10 points or more. It doesn't happen. And then Troy Aikman. What a great comment by Troy Aikman. The game was late, fourth quarter, I would say, with a 9-minute mark around, 20-10 San Francisco. And Troy Aikman called it. It's far from over. It's far from over. And he was right. He knew it. 3-time Super Bowl champion, knows those moments. He was right on. And here was another great Joe Buck moment. You know, Joe Buck gets a lot of riff, man. People just don't like him or they love him. But Joe Buck made a call last night in that game that went under the radar because I heard it, and then I said, he is right, and it didn't stop. His comment was this. Joe Buck from Fox last night, when it was 3rd down and 15, it looked like this was the play of the game. This was the season. This was the Super Bowl in a lot of ways. He never said it, Joe Buck, but he did say this. 3rd and 15, Chiefs with the ball, needing a first down to keep it all alive. Late in the game, 4th quarter, the Chiefs, quote, the Chiefs need some Mahomes magic. 3rd and 15, That very next play, completion to Tyreek Hill. And from that point on, 21 straight points. The Chiefs got the magic from Mahomes when they were looking for it. Great quote, great moment, great timing, and it happened. It played out the way Chiefs fans wanted it and needed it. The Mahomes magic showed up. It showed up. And it was a classic for that one. And speaking of a classic, um, the halftime show and the national anthem, all that I enjoyed. But I have to say this. One thing I got to say. Did you like the halftime show? Were you into the halftime show? Did you know what this means? Did you hear what this means? Yeah. The You know what that means, ladies and gentlemen? Let me give you the actual definition for that. Happiness, celebration. Shakira on stage during the halftime show, she rocked it. She outperformed, I thought, J-Lo. J-Lo was, I don't know, a little too Vegas show, too much. And Shakira was having fun. And a lot of times she was singing, I thought. I thought she was singing. But the Shakira moment where she grabs the rope, the submissive moment where she grabs this rope and she wraps it around her wrist, raises it above her head, and she starts going into her belly dancing. And her belly dancing was cool. She looked great doing it, but it's because of her heritage. She's part Lebanese, part Colombian. Okay? Father was Lebanese. And in that moment, throughout that whole halftime show, you had seen and watched some culture come out. Nobody talked about that culture of a Lebanese, Middle Eastern background where she brought it, and I enjoyed it because I knew what I said. I like this. And then she comes back on stage after she jumped in the crowd, which was pretty cool. And then she gives the call, the tongue call, what we call in the Middle East, they call it the Zagruta call, to express joy and celebration. It wasn't just some wacky, freaky. She was representing her culture. She was representing celebration and joy. And that's what that means, that calling. They do that. They have their own in Mexico. They have their own in other parts of the world with the sound. That was her calling. That was the calling of happiness and celebration. Just to get that straight. Okay? But I really thought the submissive rope tying, it was a captive moment. I think everybody just kind of went like locked in at that point on Shakira. And that's where I thought she won the half. It wasn't a battle, but the way they set it up where Shakira went first and J-Lo went second, it was set up like, all right, we're going to find out who was going to have a better show, a better performance. And I thought that moment as a performer, who grabs the attention of the audience at the most? J-Lo so-called wow moment was the stripper pole. And everybody went, really? Like, we've seen that. That's old. It didn't have a wow moment. But when she took the rope, Shakira, and put her around, and I know everybody was thinking stuff. And it was like, what's going to happen? That's an entertainer. And she had the moment. That was the moment I went, that was it. That was the clincher. And she did more than that. She played the drums. I thought that was pretty badass on her part. I don't know if you noticed that. She was banging away. She sounded good. She had fun. And she looked real. The word I wanted to use, she looked real up there. Didn't look overly produced, you know? It was produced, yeah, but it didn't look overly produced. J-Lo looked overproduced. And the one thing that I didn't really like was why so many dancers? Why are there so many? It was like 2 dozen dancers out there, and it was like chaotic. And I'm like, then you lose sight of where the performer is. It's all about the dancing, but then you can't even focus on the dance moves because it was just too much. It was too abstract. And then you don't even know where J-Lo was. Now, Shakira had her own group of dancers, but J-Lo looked like it was always about being swarmed around the group. Too much Madonna-like, too much Gaga-like, And Lady Gaga sings so much better than them anyway. But anyhow, what I got from that was this, ladies and gentlemen, for the halftime show. It was entertaining like it should be, but it's something we've seen before. We talked about this last week. We're going to see things we saw before. The cute moment with her daughter was cute, but at the same time, I'm going, just this is a marketing thing again. I'm hearing the entertainment business in my head. I'm watching cute moment and taking care of her daughter. Nice, cute. All right, moving on. I want to hit that. She's a child and a kid, but when you have so much dancing going on and the stage is full of dancers, what is that doing? That is taking away from what? Her ability to dance, folks. She wasn't dancing like anything. Like Shakira was dancing. Like she was popping and moving and doing everything. She was letting it all out. And she was out there on her own for the most part, bringing it. So everybody can see her dancing. For J-Lo, she kind of put herself in the crowd, in around the dancers. And that told me you're hiding. Or, 50-year-old woman, I get it. I'm not going to knock that part of it. She looked great and for 50-year-old women, but hey, 50-year-old women now are looking great these days anyway. 60-year-old women are looking great these days. 60-year-old men are looking great. This is who we are as a culture. There's a lot of people looking good older now. So let's put that to a side. Okay? And I'll tell you what, if we had millions of dollars like them, we would have our own chef. We would have our own regime. Like, life's a little easier. And part of your job is to look good. You better look good, because you're going to move. You're going to dance, right? So, but we've seen J-Lo before. We've seen Shakira before. And I didn't see anything different. So it was a very ho-hum halftime show. And a lot of the people on TV who were there, when you're there at halftime, and I've been through it all, I've done it, the energy is different. It's fun, and you can't help yourself but enjoy it more because you're live. So you're going to come away feeling like that was amazing and blah, blah, blah. So just do not listen to those people. Watch what you saw on TV. I thought J-Lo did what she always would do, and she didn't wow us. It wasn't wow. She did J-Lo, and we've seen that act before. For Shakira, we've seen her act before, but she had some wows. It was a notch better. So she outshined her. That's why my post last night was Shakira outshines J-Lo. Boom. All right. We got more to talk about. Those TV commercials here on Hanna Time. Your comments are now popping in. I see them all. Let me get down and look at your comments really close. Okay. I love you guys. Say it in there. The atmosphere was electric at the bar in the UK last night. Good job, Don. The Chiefs kept their faith. They did too, Paula. Good morning to you there. Who is that? Cindy. Hey, Cindy. Jake says, hey, mate, from Australia. Hope you enjoyed it. He says, just watched the Super Bowl. Garoppolo can't handle pressure. He needs a clean pocket. Absolutely. We talked about that, Jay. And if it wasn't clean, trouble. And that's why a lot of misdirection, a lot of trickery stuff, just to keep that defense and protect Garoppolo. I think we learned more. Garoppolo is a good quarterback, but there is definitely a weak spot. Mahomes Magic, yes, you called it. It showed up late. I don't think he's the MVP, but it showed up late. Hey, Charles Bidwell the third. Hey, Charlie, welcome into the show. Don, hey, Lisa says too much jiggling, too much stripping with stripper poles. Yes, Lisa, absolutely was the very worst. The crouch touching, I did say it was why? Like why? Why did they got to go to the crotch? But the women were beautiful. The men were great. It was just, if you love beautiful people, there was plenty of that last night. The only thing, Lisa, was the male performers that came on. I would say 95% of America or maybe the world didn't know who the heck they were, and it was kind of like, why? You play up Shakira and J Lo for a month, weeks leading up, all day long, hearing her music, their music, and you bring on people that most people like. Why? Like who? And it kind of was like it just took a lot away. It became what people are saying a ho hum halftime show too. I don't know if you even felt that energy, but I did. I felt like that was kind of like why are these guys there? Like it's like why? I don't understand it. I mean, her daughter being there, I'm okay with that. I'm okay. I understand why she did it in a career move or marketing move. I get it. The girl did good. She definitely was on the stage with a lot of pressure on her, and she looked good. The little kid, right, the teenager. But overall, let's get real, folks. Lisa says, "Yep, had no idea who that guy was." Absolutely, it was. I was like, "Who is this guy?" I'm looking. I'm like, "All right, he's got a do rag on." I'm like, "Take it off. Who is this dude? Let's get a surprise." It wasn't anything. There's nothing wow. That's what you need to do. My good friend Perry Damone, whose father who passed away, and Perry, passed away, will always tell me the great Vic Damone, his son Perry. We were very close friends before Perry lost his life. And Perry would always say to me, "You gotta have a wow. You gotta be wow. That's the only way you get people's attention in the entertainment business. You gotta have a wow, whatever it is it may be." And I thought Shakira had a few wow moments, and that's why I said she outshined J Lo. You know, that's really the reason why I gave her the victory, if there was one. But I want to see a change. Pepsi has a lot of say in this. Who their performers are, they're all tied in the industry, all about pop charts and those kind of record labels and things like that. It's all kind of politically tied in. And until that changes, we will not get the Tom Petty's of the world. Prince was awesome, but Prince is a unique talent. This unique talent, multi-talented musician. That's what you get. You get real singers out there, right? But anyhow, I think Lisa, you're right on with this. More comments coming in. Deidre Joe in the house. So more thoughts about the halftime show. Let me give you some comments that I got from the social media part. And let me see if I can pop it up on the screen. I got it. Here we go. I have a lot of people who are good friends and people I don't even know. I have a friend from New Jersey, Stacy Lemansky Roth, who now is in Denver. By far, Shakira wins it. Michael Persone, damn straight, Shakira wins it. Greg Eric, get her number. I'm available. I mean, people were loving her. Kimberly Kidd says, I love them both. Jose Rosa says, tie. Gave him a tie. All right, that's okay. Mike Goat says, for sure, Shakira. Veronica's love them both. Mary Elizabeth, it was a great show. And yes, I agree. Shakira. Cecilia de Jesus Solis, are you nuts? Thinking it was J-Lo. Melanie Garcia Perez. Shakira is a natural beauty and a performer. Stephen Hughes. I won't be seen either in concert. Veronica says both amazing. Here's your comment from last night, Lisa. Nothing compares to Prince. Ironically, how I brought that up. I didn't know you said that. And my only one that thought that was awful. A lot of people thought it was awful. Stephen Hughes comes back and says it was average at best. Oh, I did agree on something there to Lisa. Shakira saved it. I thought Shakira saved it from being a disaster. Gave it something. Poor halftime show from Mike Buchanan. MC Cook didn't watch maybe some Metallica next time. Never. That's what somebody said. Absolutely, she was beautiful. I'm not talking about beauty. I was talking about performances for sure. Floyd Haggerty sure did amazing. Shakira. Glory. What are you on? No way, amigo. She thought JLo was it. Connie, McKeeby, Mackenzie, they are both gorgeous. I did a great job. No complaints here. All right. Nicole, yes, she did. Shakira. Berlinda, oh, definitely. JLo was still hustled out. Oh, Berlinda, bringing some trash talk in there. Berlinda does come back and say this. These are people responding on social media. I was like, really? A poll? Yeah, the stripper poll came out, Berlinda. Yes, it did. Exactly. Allison Hanna, great lip syncing. Great lip syncing. Would you like to see a rock show? Yes, I would, Allison. Marsha Christner. Yes, she said. It was all Shakira. Ali Jamut, he agreed. He fell in love with Shakira. He says, I have a renewed crush on Shakira. I think a lot of people did. April Bennett, she had some strong comments. She liked them both. She is a JLo fan. JLo was amazing, everything she does. April Bennett comes back and says, Shakira showed a lot of her thrusting crotch. Yes, she did. A lot of it. A lot of JLo fans on the back end of this. A lot of people want more rock. They want to get out of this pop chart kind of thing. From what I'm reading, I wasn't worried about who looked better because they all did, and I wasn't focusing. I wanted to focus on talent, who has a better show. I was looking at a performance more than flash and grit stuff. All right, but when you got somebody who was doing this, that was Shakira once again. If you didn't pick up on it, I'll remind you once again what that really means. Um, that is Shakira with her heritage of being Lebanese, Middle Eastern. People call it Arab, but Arabic is a language. And it's called in a traditional way for happiness and expression of joy. That tongue calling sound that you heard from her was from her celebration, recognition of having some fun. Also, it's called the Zagruta. The Zagruta tongue calling was Shakira's way of just expressing her background, her culture, but also it was a celebration last night, a celebration of the game, the everything. And I think appropriately, she did the right thing for herself. But a lot of people didn't understand that. They thought it was just kind of some wacky moment. Now she wasn't tripping. She was feeling it. She did her belly dancing. Her belly dancing was good. I thought she tapped into her heritage, which I think a lot of people missed on, and I applaud her for that because a lot of people want to express, and that's what she did as an entertainer. Good job, Shakira. More comments coming in. I see a lot popping in after this. I was hoping to stimulate more people, and I think we got it going. Jay says someone outdoes Prince at a Super Bowl. There is no point until someone outdoes them. Yeah, I think Prince overall takes it all right now. And Michael Jackson, you can't forget Michael Jackson from like a few decades ago. He rocked it too. I mean, because of Michael and what he was doing. So I think those two, ironically, great dancers and singers. I watched Tom Petty in person. I saw 9 Super Bowls in person, and Petty was the most raw sounding concert and the reaction of the crowd. So that has to be there too. But I'm done with the pop singing, Lady Gaga, Madonna, J-Lo. What Janet Jackson did with Justin Timberlake, we complained about it then, but we didn't complain about Mr. Levine taking off his shirt, showing off his muscles, all his tattoos, his body movement from last year. Let's get that straightened out. It was only a year ago when Maroon 5 took the stage. Let's not forget Maroon 5 moment and Adam. I mean, Adam did it. Ladies went nuts. Now the guys are going nuts, literally. I mean, it's like we need to get away from that. But these performers are going to do to take the wow moment. They want to, this is their moment to sell more, market themselves. This is their moment. But I don't know why it has to go strongly sexual in that manner. Rely on your talents, rely on your abilities. People, you can put on a show by rocking and moving. I think Shakira did a little bit better than that J Lo. Than J Lo. I really like the rope. I like her submissive rope tying around her wrist. I thought that was hot. I thought that was entertaining. I thought that was something that was anticipation out of it. That was a wow moment. Meaning, like everybody was like, what's she doing? Like, I think everybody saw that and then thought of wild stuff. like, I can see like the spouse next to you, right? And going, honey, like, uh-huh. like there was a lot in that one moment there. And then she turned it into the belly dancing, which I thought was tasteful. It wasn't a stripper pole, right? I mean, if you think the derivement of strippers and dancing in an exotic, erotic way is from belly dancing, a very old way of dancing in a sexual, erotic way, exotic way, whatever you want to put it. And I thought Shakira did a very tasteful way of doing something sexy than a stripper pole and hanging upside. And I'm like, yeah, got a daughter who is watching the halftime show, who loves dancing, and she's seeing a stripper pole. That it's not okay. I don't approve of that. I don't go to strip clubs. Okay, I don't. I haven't been to one, and I think it's couple. Nah, is it? Is it a couple of decades? I don't know, man. It's been a long time. It's been a very long time. It just everything. It's just no biggie. I don't hate it. I don't. I just don't care for it. It's just whatever. And I just don't. And then you bring the stripper pole out. I think a lot of people have stripper poles now in their homes. People are like doing things. There's strip dance groups now. For whatever reason, and it wasn't something wow. Was that a wow moment? No, it wasn't a wow moment. Lisa says we are all like. And where's the surprise celebrities? Mark Anthony, even dear God, Pitbull. I hear you. Shakira, but geez, we almost saw her. JJ, yes. Well, the camera guys they're shooting straight up, and their outfits were, they were showing leg and some tight bottom panty like outfit, and you got to know they're gonna gyrate. This is the Latin style of dancing, um, and you give a performer an opportunity to have some fun, they're gonna do it. They're gonna do it. But I do say and will say, I was a little worried about our 9-year-old daughter who head pops up and she goes, "Oh, I know that song. We danced with that song in our dance class." And I went, "Oh crap!" I was like, So I got a little worried, and I think a lot of moms and dads got worried last night with their daughters and their sons, because now their sons are watching this and going, "Yeah, that's what I want, baby. I want a girl that gyrates like that." But know the stage, know who's watching, know the moment, know the moment, and that's something that I think you're bothered by too. Yeah, they were beautiful. Not talking about how beautiful they were, just the performance. I agree with that, Lisa. Good job. You're strong today, Lisa. Impressed with Demi Lovato's performance. Thank you for transitioning me. So Demi Lovato needed a comeback moment. Demi Lovato needed a moment to take the stage where millions of people could recognize her and see her in a beautiful light, who she is. and remember her beautiful voice because she does have a beautiful voice, and she showed it off last night. And I was happy for her because it's nerve wracking. I'm gonna go back to a an old friend again, Perry Damone. His father, Vic Damone, would always tell his son Perry, and Perry would tell me this. He goes, "The death wish is singing the national anthem. When you sing the national anthem, if you don't do a good job of it, it could ruin your career. A lot of performers won't go there. But if you're in a desperate moment, if you're in a moment where you need a lift in your career, you got to do this." And Demi Lovato needed that moment. This was a break for her career to rejuvenate her career, and she pulled it off. She nailed it. It was pure. It was not a track, a voice track. It reminds me of Jewel of the Packers Broncos Super Bowl, watching her national anthem. And I'm standing there at the game. I have my brother with me who is a Packer fan, and we're watching, and we have a monitor that we are inside the stadium, and we're watching it. And I'm going back and forth with my eyes. And there was a moment there last night. It nearly happened to Demi Lovato. Okay, you have the airplanes, the jets flying over, and it's all timed. You start the national anthem at the right time, and the jets, the pilots know how to speed it up or whatever they got to do to time it right. It is down to a math. Okay, now Jewel was clearly a track because her mouth opened up during her performance. Okay, and what happened next was nothing came out. The track didn't start. So for about, I don't know, about let's say 3 seconds, there was this odd, quiet moment with Jewel. And that's when I realized it was a track. And she was going to lip sync the national anthem. That's why Whitney is great, because she didn't lip sync it. She rocked it. And last night, well, how about this? When Jewel did her national anthem, the timing of the Jets were off. They came in early, and they flew over before the right timing of it all. Because you've been to enough, I've been to enough of them, and you know when it's really amazing when they come right over at the right part of the end of the song. It's very powerful. It's amazing. If it's late or early, it doesn't hit right. It's just kind of like it just doesn't feel right. It's not the same wow. Last night, Demi Lovato had a moment at the end of her song, at the end of the national anthem. If you go back and watch it, watch how she holds her note. And God bless her that she has a beautiful, powerful, powerful voice, that she was able to hold the note long enough for this timing. Now, there is a clock. I don't know if you know this, that they're watching. Timing, it's clicking down. It is elapsing. And that is notifying the singer that when the Jets should arrive over the top of the stadium. Demi, Miss Lovato herself, she saw this. Her eyes, I think her eyes even looked down to take a peek of the clock. And then her voice, and what's wild about it was you got to hear her beautiful voice even more, or she had to go further with it. Like she had to reach deeper. And you heard a powerful voice, and she held it longer. I don't know if you noticed that during the national anthem. And I wondered, did she need to go there? And I heard some grumblings that she held her note long too. But I remember watching that. I don't know if you did. Just go back and watch it and see. But that's okay. It's okay. She performed it. She followed instructions, and she still nailed it. And Demi Lovato, your career is back if you continue to stay on track with your personal stuff. And that's the part that was important for her too. Staying clean and bringing your shows wherever people can watch you, because you have a beautiful voice. You really do. All right. The rope was weird. Um, it was a tension grabber. If I took the rope or the stripper pole, I take the rope because it was an attention grabber. And she was definitely tapping into a very submissive, very sexual moment. But she was grabbing your attention. That's why I went, all right. And it was odd. It was like, this is, but it was a wow. That see, sometimes it doesn't have to make sense. All it has to do as a performer is get your attention locked in. And that's that moment. That's why I applaud her because it worked. It worked. Even by you saying it was weird, it locked you in. And it wasn't like gross, disgusting, like really a stripper pole. Like I don't think anybody said really the ropes. I don't think anybody really said that. I think it was like, okay, this is odd or this is weird. Like what's gonna happen? That's okay in a lot of ways. It wasn't a negative like gross. Like really, like that's the stripper pole moment. Juan Otero used to go to strip clubs. Must have been put a few dances through college. Oh, okay. Well, that's the case. Hopefully it's been done right. Whitney Houston sang it the best. Period. Hands down, no doubt. You know, I thought Pink a couple of years ago did it really well, and I thought Lovato did a good job, really well last night too. I think her voice boomed last night. Uh, and way classier than the strip club that was halftime. That's funny. Yeah, it was. I think strippers were happy last night. I think exotic dancers were feeling it last night. But it's Vegas, and you go to a Vegas show, it is a lot like that. And that's what I said last week. We're gonna get a Vegas show at halftime, and it did. You know, I remember J Lo's quote, "Let's bring it like Latinas can, baby." That was her quote. And hot and sexy and salsa like, that's fine. But grabbing crotch, stripper poles, things like that. And then the part was hiding yourself with 24 dancers around you. What are you hiding? I don't get that part. Way too much. Robert Castillo in the house. Funny how people who never are here suddenly show up and complain. They're here. They watch. They're in the distance. They take a peek. But I'm going to go back to Adam Levine's shirtless moment last night where every woman was like dropping their panties. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't say every woman, but it was like women were like, oh, drooling, dropping it. It was like, it's funny. It's like you damn if you do, you do, the whole thing. You get damned one way or the other in our society. It's called selective, you know, opinion or a selective whatever in life where, people have opinions and like things. And that's the best part about who we are, you know, in some countries, you would never get away with that. You would not get away with that. I still say we should bring a reggae show. Would have been great in Florida because of Jamaica being right there and that connection. But but let's smoke out the stadium. Let's smoke it out. Go somewhere where it can be legal to smoke and they can't stop it. But then again, in a public place, maybe not. But just having some funny ideas. Bring reggae in. Celebrate the passion and the love of reggae music. Bring in some of the Marleys. Bring in some big, bad-looking Rasta guys and some togas, like I say, and bring it. I think you will have a pretty good show. I think people would actually dance, right? I like that idea, actually. Yes, your food court will be empty by the end of the third quarter, but that's a good thing because you sold a lot of stuff. There's no more pretzels. There's no more hot dogs. There's no more nothing. You should thank the Rasta guys. Yeah, everybody was high, making love in the stands. Yeah, it would have been a whole different type of soft porn going on, and if you had that one. All right, moving on. We hit this pretty hard with this. Yes, a lot of my friends from school days, high school, elementary school, college, really follow me on this. And Lisa, you're absolutely right. You are a dear friend. You know, a dear friend, and you have every right to express yourself, and I appreciate it. And you definitely, I appreciate you even watching whenever you can or taking a peek, and I know you do, and I thank you for that too. I thank all of my friends and newbies and everybody else out there. But the Super Bowl brings this out of people. People were amped up. They were rock solid to talk about stuff. Okay, now let's talk about the TV commercials. You want to hear about this one? Which one was your favorite TV commercial? All right. All right, here's the list of the ones that I thought that were pretty good. All right, the Rocket Mortgage with Aquaman was freaking hilarious, I thought. It was symbolic of the Super Bowl. The 49ers look strong and beautiful and solid and gold and everything, just like Aquaman in the Rocket Mortgage commercial for taxes. Was it taxes? Yeah. No, Rocket Mortgage, right. Anyway, and then slowly through the commercial, he starts losing his arm, and it was all a facade, all a fake. He wasn't as big and beautiful and strong as he was. He came down, and before the commercial ended, he was a skinny, scrawny guy playing some weird, guitar string instrument. Symbolically, that was the 49ers last night. That commercial summed it up. But it was funny. It was good. Great acting, entertaining, informative. I thought that was very informative. The three things I look for when it comes to entertainment is a story. Okay? Is it informative? And is it entertaining you? And that was an entertaining. That was good. Informative. The commercial message was there, stuck in my head. The Mountain Dew movie of the Shining combination. Remember the Shining, the movie? With Jack Nicholson in his head with the axe chopping through the door and the women screaming and the fear and the horror. And it was all about a Mountain Dew. And they got the message across. The Mountain Dew. I saw it. And I loved the green Mountain Dew pouring out of the elevator, just like it was with the blood coming out of the red rum moment of the movie The Shining. Great idea, clever, and you really masked it well, and you had fun with it. It was comical. It was good. Another good commercial. I like that. The Cheetos commercial with Hammer Time. Not bad. Bringing back MC Hammer, doing some Hammer Time dancing. The Cheetos, good one. Not the best one, but it was entertaining, informative, and I remember the cheesy fingers. Yeah, the message was sent. They got the message across. Another good one. The Doritos commercial with Old Town Road, very good, classic, a song that people knew, related to, every kid related to it, and Doritos hit their home run. Very comical with an old-time actor who plays the cowboy role really well. It was cool. It was a good, entertaining commercial. I love that one. The most touching commercial, the most beautiful commercial was the Josh Jacobs, the current rookie running back of the Oakland Raiders, now the Las Vegas Raiders. A commercial of him in a car with a son or with a child looking at a football field of getting ready to go to football practice. And the story with Josh and his father was a reflection of their life, living in a car, homeless, living out of a car as a young child. His father made him play football and kept pushing him to be something special, and it was football. He got to go to a scholarship to Alabama, became a star there, and then went on to the NFL and became a great rookie. But that commercial was a reflection, and it was a reminder, a beautiful reminder about never give up, keep striving for goal. It was beautiful, and it was a PSA commercial type. I loved it. And if people didn't realize his story, I hope you do now. That's why it was so powerful. I noticed a lot of local commercials. Didn't know if there was not enough commercials sold, or this was just a way to make sure the local TV broadcast stations get their money. I think the combination of both might have been the case. The Discovery Card message was clear and effective with the informative story, entertainment itself. I thought the Discovery Card was good. Discover Card. I liked it. One of the funny ones I thought was the Bill Murray Groundhog. The Groundhog Day movie comes back to life. And just recently, we just found out that the groundhog is going to say and said that we're going to have a longer, no, winter's going to end sooner. So the timing of that, everything was perfect. They nailed it. The groundhog with the Jeep commercial and him still taking the Jeep, stealing it, whatever you want to say. But it was great. I liked it. It reminded us a lot about our youth again or our past movies. Bill Murray, good job, effective. I remember the Jeep, and Jeep is going to sell their Jeeps a little bit more now. Another one was the cool um, introduction to the Super Bowl with the kids. Take it to the house, public service announcement, PSA, NFL, PSA. Take it to the house. It was really cool. Well planned out. Last year, they did a great job celebrating the next 100 years of the NFL with all the great legends in a room, with the big cake and the football thrown around, and had all those great players. But now it was about the kids, and it was about these kids playing ball and this kid running around all over the country, through every city, and ending up running into the stadium at Miami Garden Stadium, the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami last night, and running into the stadium live with the ball with all these kids running, girls and boys, boys and girls, and all the jerseys from NFL teams onto the stadium. And he hands the referee the game ball at midfield. That is fantastic. It was great. That was you just smile and you feel it's a feel good thing too. It's very feel good. One more. One more that was good. I really liked Facebook and their commercial. I Want to Rock was really good. And it was refreshing because we miss rock and roll for the Super Bowl. But it was a really good, and Facebook really plastered their FB all over that, and their logo, their brand all over that commercial. But it was a very good storytelling, very informative again, and very entertaining. And those were good commercials. So all of them hit me good. The Tide commercial was okay. It was an ongoing commercial spot that was kind of bland and just waiting for a kicker. It didn't really have a good wow moment. It was all about the stain and Tide soap, clothing, detergent, and I get that, but it wasn't really a wow. There were some bad ones last night. I don't know what it was. I still don't know what it was, but it was like what was it? The two singers in a car, and she's standing on the staircase with all these like big wig millionaire people, and she's ripping on them and calling them out like fake. And I'm going, well, you're probably fake too. It just didn't taste right. I was like, this is a real downer. Like, why are you going so negative? And then she wanted to get out, and she ran out of this mansion, and the car was supposed to be there, and it was like this was the punchline. This was the moment, and the car wasn't there. It was supposed to be late, and the car shows up, and then she gets in, and she yells at him. It was all negative. It was just like negative, negative, negative. And that was a commercial for, I think, was it Chrysler or Lincoln car? I forget what it was. Just bad. That was a bad. I just was like, ugh, not a good moment. There were a couple of bad ones. There were a couple of ones, and the Tide commercial was teetering on like, you better get this right if you're going to continue to show us Tide commercials, short ones, and it never really punched a ticket, but it was enough to keep us thinking about Tide. All right. What do you think about those commercials? All right. Let's go into it. Always. Yes, Lisa, always. Much love to you. The Jeep commercial. Lisa loved the Jeep commercial. Don says from the UK it was don't have the same TV ads. Oh, you didn't have. Wow, that is very informative, Dawn. She was watching the games with all her friends at midnight in a bar in the UK, and there were different commercials. Interesting. Now I gotta go check out the ones that were being shown in the UK. Let's see how much different and better they were. Interesting. Very good observation. All right, the Google Memory commercial. Yeah, that was a good one too. Good. That's a good reminder. Forgot about that one. Juan says too many ads. Way too many ads. Right. Jay from Australia. Ads are a good time to go to the toilet and to grab some food and drink. You know, Jay, you're right in a lot of ways. Over the years, I would say they've been pretty lame, not good. It was almost like we forgot or lost that creative commercial for the Super Bowl. And last night it rebounded. It was better than the previous years, and that's what I was why I want to bring it up to with all these commercial talk is it was better than previous years, and that's why I'm happy. I'm happy to say. All right, Noreen in the house. Hey, Noreen, she's from Brooklyn. See, got a lot of like childhood friends in the house. Grew up with her in Brooklyn. Went through all elementary school at St. Patrick's. There she is, Noreen. Sam Elliott, awesome. Yes, it was. You know, what's that commercial with? Was it Google? It was Google, right? Oh man, I think it was the one. Yeah, it was Google, the one with the inside the convenience store where he was being controlled by all the it was being controlled like a robot and knocking down all the shelves and all the food, and then he walks out. That was good. That was a good one. All right. Wow. A lot of fun today. I mean, this is part of Super Bowl Monday post comments. This is what you do. You know, if you don't know, the final score was 31-20. Let's give you some numbers here real quick from last night, folks. Pat Mahomes, the quarterback who won MVP, not my MVP, by the way, was 8 for 13 after his second interception. So he was lousy, bad. He wasn't good. He was blowing the Super Bowl. He wasn't performing when they needed him the most. Then, after his second interception, he was 8 for 13, 114 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a quarterback rating of 129. Garoppolo, quarterback rating in the fourth quarter was a 2.7, I think. Think about that. His quarterback rating was disgustingly bad, horrible. And that's where the Super Bowl was won and lost. Whose fault is it? What happened? You blame a lot on the Niners. A lot would happen. And, hey, give the Chiefs a lot of credit. There's a really good stat there. Moving on. More numbers. My MVP, Damian Williams. My MVP. 17 carries for 104 yards, 6 yards a carry. His longest was that touchdown, 38 yards. Big moment, clinching touchdown. But nobody ran for 100 yards. Not one single runner had 100 yards against that Niner defense all season long. And in the Super Bowl, Damian Williams did that. That alone gives him the MVP. But he did it with 17 carries. Very good, very impressive. But not only running the football, Damian Williams caught the ball 4 times, 29 yards. He also has a pass reception touchdown. He was targeted 8 times. And a lot of those targets were poorly thrown balls by Mahomes. Mahomes missed him a bunch. Mahomes missed a lot of receivers. Mahomes was not the MVP last night. He was not the most valuable player. He was valuable with 9 minutes to go, but so was Damian Williams, who scored 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, and they were everything. He ran the ball. He picked up a lot of yardage running the football. But also in that fourth quarter, it was Tyreek Hill getting wide open, but an underthrown Mahomes throw nearly cost an interception because it was underthrown. Should have been caught easily for a touchdown. Sammy Watkins, he had 98 yards on 5 catches. Had that big one when he beat Richard Sherman. He averaged 20 yards a catch. So you got to give credit to the other players doing their job while Mahomes was trying to find his groove. In that fourth quarter, Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, Kelsey, the tight end, and Williams were the bigger stars than Mahomes. Mahomes made a couple throws that he needed to make, but give the credit to the guys getting open. Give the credit to guys who made it happen, who made it easy for Mahomes to complete a pass. And even then, he wasn't sharp. His best throw was the throw to Watkins. That was his best throw. Other than that, a lot of his throws were behind, underthrown. I mean, it just wasn't sharp. He wasn't sharp. So Mahomes, you're not the MVP in my book, but you know, when people vote and the media votes, I don't know what I've been down that road. I've had my vote before. When you're part of the media, no matter who it is, if you get a credential as a media person, you get at least when I went, I got a vote. So, and you got to get it submitted at a certain time, by the way. Got to get it in. But I don't think Mahomes was the MVP. He was not the most valuable player. He was probably blowing the game, but he blew the game for the most part. And you don't just give it to him because he showed up. Somebody else had a solid game, was Damian Williams. From the start to finish, he was the best player on the field. He was the best player on the field. For Garoppolo, he had pretty good numbers. He was 20 for 31, but only 219 yards. Only for 219 yards. Super Bowl quarterbacks, and let me get to this right now. Throw and complete passes over 28 yards. Or 28 times. Garoppolo fell short of a magical number of 28. The reason being is Garoppolo was throwing a lot of short passes, a lot of checkdowns, and not throwing the ball down the field. It was a timely game plan to get the ball downfield. And the more they did not check down, the more it fed into the Kansas City Chiefs defense, where they just can cover within 20 yards, within 10 yards, and win it at the line of scrimmage. And they were winning the battle at the line of scrimmage. Here's why. The numbers don't lie. Okay? That great running game only had 141 yards. What do you mean 140? That's a lot. Well, 53 came from Deebo Samuel, the wide receiver. So you take away the trickery and all that fake stuff that the Niners were doing to change directions a lot, misdirections of a lot of plays. Deebo Samuel was part of that. 53 of it. You take that away, which you can't because it's still part of the game and was effective, very effective. But it wasn't the straight up running the football with these Mostert and Coleman guy that everybody was like, this is the great running game, which they had a great year. Where was it last night? It had a couple of moments. It had one decent drive that had a couple of really good runs on it. But most of it was from trickery and misdirection. And even then, it did not do the damage that it needed to. It did not finish strong with the running game like it was planned for them to do. Give the Chiefs credit. They made sure they did not allow that to happen. and we get back to the strongest point and the strongest question. Was that going to be the difference for the 49ers to win? And everybody was banking on that to be a Niner win because of that running game and then the play action, which you fake the handoff because you have established the running game and you can fake the running game to fake their handoff and throw it over the top. At times it worked. At times they were in rhythm, Garoppolo. But nothing wow. There was no wow. They had a couple of moments where they could have been wow, but Kittle pushed off. That was the wow moment. He pushed off, though. Pass interference, offense goes back the other way. It was the right call. And the last wow moment was right in front of Garoppolo, where he would have been the hero today. After a lackluster average game, his one big throw at the end to Samuels overthrew it. That would have taken the lead. He was wide open. He was deep down the middle. He was there at the 5-yard line. It was game over, probably at that point. There was still a lot of time left, but things are different at that point. He blew it. Garoppolo was not as good, and his weaknesses came out. When you become one-dimensional or your balanced attack is relying on your running game, you better run the ball, but you better be able to throw the ball downfield to help that running game. The balance wasn't there. Wasn't there. Speaking of wide receivers, when your running back for the Niners was the second most receptions with 3, he had 1 touchdown, 39 yards. Bourne, who had 2 receptions, had 1 big one for 42 yards. Okay, Deebo Samuel had 5 receptions, but only 39 yards. Emmanuel Sanders had 3 receptions for 38 yards. Now, they spread the ball around. Kittle, the great tight end, 4 receptions, 36 yards. They spread the ball out, but nobody had a big game. There was no really big game, big-time performance that stuck out last night for the 49ers. There was no star. The Chiefs had a few stars last night. They had Tyreek Hill making big star moments. They had Watkins making big star moments. They had Damian Williams having big star moments. Mahomes had his big star moment or 2. And Kelsey had a few of his big star moments on offense. On defense, Chris Jones knocking down passes, pushing the pile, the line of scrimmage, putting pressure up the middle. Terrell Suggs, unsung hero. His pass rush was pressuring and getting Garoppolo off and out of the pocket. And Clark getting a sack, number 55. He was very good. The Chiefs had a lot of star moments last night. And we always talk about stars have to play like stars. And if you're not a star player, you got to have a star moment. You got to have a moment. You got to have a play that is a star moment. I thought the special teams of the Chiefs was fantastic. Their kickoff coverage was great. Their punt coverage was great. Not allowing the Niners to get better field position, keeping them in check. I thought that was fantastic. Coming up next is the overall team stats. I'm going to break it down to you, and you're going to be wowed by this. More comments coming in. Jerry Lowe in the house. Appreciate your pumping in, Jerry. I see your comments. First downs. The Kansas City Chiefs had 26. The Niners had 21. Rushing first downs. Chiefs had 12. The Niners had 8. That's a number that needed to be way up high for the Niners. First down from penalties, only 1. So penalties did not have a major factor. Third down conversions, third down efficiency. The Chiefs were 6 for 14. They were not good early on. Much better in the fourth quarter. The 49ers, 3 for 18. On fourth down, the Chiefs were 2 for 3. But that last one, the fourth down one, was the last play of the game. So it was they were perfect on that. Total plays overall. This is big. The 49ers needed to eliminate and cut down as many plays that the Chiefs can have. They had 75, Kansas City, 75 plays. That's a lot. The 49ers had 54. Not enough. Total yards, though, were pretty even. 397 for the Chiefs, 351 for the 49ers. Both teams had 10 possessions each. Okay. More numbers. Sacks. Garoppolo was sacked 4 times. 4 times. Remember, folks, it was supposed to be the 49ers sacking Mahomes. It was the 49ers defense that was supposed to be getting the sacks, putting the pressure on. They had 1 sack. They had 1 sack the whole game. While the Chiefs, underrated, not appreciated, had 4, and they outplayed them in that category. Red zone attempts. The 49ers were in the red zone 2 times, and they capitalized with 2 scores. The Chiefs, they were down there 4 times. Came away with scores only 3 of the 4 times. Penalty-wise, both teams, well, 5 for the Niners and 4 for the Chiefs. Not a lot of penalties. The big one was the Kittle pass interference, offensive pass interference. That was the big one. That was big. And, the 5-yard ones matter because it's first down and 15. When you start your drive, first and 15 or second and 15, it doesn't help. So those little 5-yard, a lot of illegal procedures, a lot of false starts by the Niners and the Chiefs, some offside moments there too. On defense, Breeland of the Chiefs had the most total tackles of 7. He had 6 solo tackles. He also had an interception. Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, had 6 tackles and 4 solo. Not bad. Sorensen, the fan favorite linebacker, had 6 for the Chiefs. And then it makes its way down the list, okay? For the 49ers last night, Jimmy Ward had 11 tackles, 8 solo. Another secondary guy, 7 tackles, 5 solo. That is Warner. Williams had 6 tackles, 5. Buckner, the defensive tackle, had 6 tackles. Where is Richard Sherman? Richard Sherman had 5 tackles. He got beat a bunch of times, though. That secondary got beat a lot. That secondary, it wasn't as good as everybody made it out to be. I warned and told people last week, the Chiefs are going to stabilize the 49ers defensive pass rush. The Niners are going to have moments, I said. They were going to get to the quarterback here and there. But for the majority of the time, the Niners are not going to get to Mahomes a whole lot. They had some pressure. They moved him out of the pocket, but moving him out of the pocket doesn't solve it. He was able to escape and get away. And that exposes their soft, average secondary. And then it was exposed. And there was the problem. That's where I thought it was the key to the game. Whoever wins that battle. And it happened. It happened. All right, so there's your breakdown of all the stats of the game. Okay. A few more notes of this game. Kyle Shanahan, again, second time in the Super Bowl as a coach. First as a coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons when they blew that 28-3 lead over the New England Patriots in that big Super Bowl. That was embarrassing. And last night, blowing a 10-point lead with 9 minutes to go in the game. He's got 2 choke moments in the Super Bowl as a coach. That is a tag that's now going to follow him for a very long time or a short time until he wins the Super Bowl. Richard Sherman getting roasted on social media because of his getting burned a few times last night. And one more note for quarterback comparison, Mahomes and Garoppolo both threw 2 interceptions last night. Mahomes threw for 286 yards, but Mahomes threw the ball 42 times and completed 26 of them. That's not a great statistical number. That's not MVP stuff. 2 touchdown passes, but you got down there because of a pass interference and a nice throw by Watkins and an underthrown long 3rd down and 15 pass to Tyreek Hill. It wasn't like wow Mahomes. Let's get that straight. He threw 2 interceptions, and at that point, he blew the Super Bowl. At that point, he had a lot of explaining to do. At that point, you're saying he can't and get the pressure under his belt. Too much pressure. But he figured it out. The team figured it out. The defense kept him in the game, and they made their comeback. It's so hard in the NFL to keep a team down. Even the bad teams can find ways to get back in the game. Even the average teams. It's just the better teams find the ways to win, hold off, or just put the clincher at the end. And their record goes to 12-4. It's like, and then you have a good record and you're in the playoffs. But when it comes to big games against good teams, big moments, sometimes you can't get away with that. A lot of times you don't get away with that. And for the most part, Mahomes was not getting away with it because he wasn't good. It was a better team, and he couldn't figure it out. Somebody else needs more credit than Mahomes. A lot more. For Garoppolo, you threw 31 times and completed 20 passes. Great statistical number in percentages, but short passes don't cut it for me. This is the Super Bowl. You played in a big game, and not only for you, but for that entire 49er offense of system, you never wanted to make the bigger play until you had to. You were too conservative. You were trying to milk it, run your team with the ball, and find your game plan. That was your ammo the whole year. But when your ammo was losing it and running out of bullets, and then finally ran out of bullets, you had to turn to what? You had to turn to what ammunition that Garoppolo and that passing game can give you. You went to water balloons. You know what I'm saying? You threw it. You made some plays with some water balloons, but a lot of times they were busted up and deflated. You had nothing left. You were throwing water balloons at the end of the game. You ran out of bullets because your running game was your ammo. I think you knew that. I think you understood who your quarterback really was. But if anybody says he was fabulous last night, he wasn't. He was average. Against any good football team, this has been going on all year long with Garoppolo. And he had some big moments and he's had some bad moments. But we always want to talk about the good moment. We always want to talk about his highlights. They beat the Packers in the NFC Championship game because of what? They ran the ball for well over 200 yards. It was ridiculous. They didn't have to throw the ball. So you don't really know Garoppolo still in big games. The Packers blew a chance to stifle that run and challenge and put the game in Garoppolo's hand. Last night, the game was in Garoppolo's hand, and he never made it happen. It was a choke job by everybody in that Niner team. You did not step up when it would matter most. And Garoppolo has the making of something special and good, but this is going to be on him now. He has to complete and win a Super Bowl. The pressure is more now on the Niners to win, on their head coach who has choked away 2 Super Bowl leads, comfortable leads in the Super Bowl, and you choked it away. Now you got a head coach that's got to prove that wrong now, or get back some salvation. And now your quarterback. who is going to look upon as he's good, he can pull it off, and we believe he can get there, and we believe he can win one. But is he the quarterback that's going to win it and you carry him? You know, it's a Joe Montana moment. It's the Tom Brady moment. Here is Garoppolo. Dun, dun, dun. Done. Didn't do it. Didn't happen. Didn't make the throw. You know what? But you talk about other quarterbacks. You know what? I'm going to have to give a lot of credit and praise to a guy that people often feel don't like him because of some of the things. But like Ben Roethlisberger has kicked ass in the Super Bowl a bunch of times. In his first game, he struggled. He was a rookie. He's the youngest. No, he wasn't a rookie. It was the second year. He was the youngest quarterback ever, and still is the youngest quarterback ever to win a Super Bowl. And everybody ragged on him. Last night, if Mahomes wins the Super, Mahomes didn't have a Super Bowl great game. So it's really fickle, and you pick and choose and selectively choose who you want to put on a pedestal. But in big moments, at least Big Ben had to do it a bunch of times in a Super Bowl and did it. The Cardinal game was huge for him to do it. But you're glorifying guys that have never done it before. You're hyping it up as if they're going to be this guy. They haven't done it until they do it. And do it consistently. I remember Big Ben losing to the Packers. If it wasn't for a fumble of Rashad Mendenhall, the Steelers win that Super Bowl. They were on their way to go ahead with a winning touchdown. They were on their way. But a fumble by a running back took it away. Big Ben led them back. They were down 21-3, I think, in that game. Yeah. So Garoppolo gets all this stuff. Montana, Steve Young, Brady. Mahomes gets all that. Mahomes almost blew the Super Bowl, folks. He was saved by the defense, and he was saved by some great pass routes. Great stuff by his wide receivers. And a great running back who had an MVP game in Damian Williams, number 26. That was an MVP game overall. Not only that he caught the ball and he ran the ball effectively, he blocked. Damian Williams blocked. Look at his game film. He was chipping. He was blocking blitz. He was picking up the extra guy. He was in there. He was doing a full job as a running back. He nailed it last night. He not only had highlights, he had big moments that nobody would talk about because a block. Nobody talks about blocking. Cannot tell you how many times a blitz was coming or somebody was getting free. Damian Williams threw a shoulder, a chip block, something. Just get up on there to give Pat Mahomes enough time. Mahomes, I don't know why he got the MVP. I still don't. Still don't get it. I think Mahomes himself feels it too. He'll take it. He's happy. But every time he was asked last night, like, do you realize, dude, you just won the Super Bowl. You're going to the Disney World. You're the MVP. You're the second youngest quarterback to win a Super Bowl. Blah, blah, blah. And you look at him, he kept on deflecting because he knows he almost blew that game. He knows it wasn't a good game for him. It was not one of his best games, which is surprising that the Niners couldn't finish it because Mahomes was not having a good game. There were receivers open, and Mahomes missed them. And he was saved by the other players in the fourth quarter. And then Mahomes got going. But that's not an MVP game. It was far from it. Yes, you hope for a moment where the Super Bowl MVP was so obvious, and that didn't happen last night. But when you think about it and you watch it, And that last touchdown by Damian Williams, it was like, you're the MVP, bro. You scored two touchdowns in the fourth quarter. You made it happen. You made it happen. So forever, I'm going to say he's my MVP of Super Bowl 54. He belongs at Disneyland. Send him to Disneyland. All right, more comments coming in. I appreciate it. All right, getting late though. Getting late. Almost done with it. Um, the last night performance show of Shakira was fantastic. We appreciate it. And a little music from that last night, and her little. If you can hear it, here's a little tongue calling. You want to hear it? All right, there it is. That's a celebration call. She's Colombian and Lebanese, Shakira. I was real happy for her. I was real happy. Good job, Shakira. At least you saved the Super Bowl halftime show. You gave us something other than the crotch shots. But I think the camera guys are the ones that kind of were enjoying it. Zooming in a little too much. Like, come on, guys. Right? Now, I got to go talk to people at Fox because they're the guys with the cameras. And I got to say, guys, were you realizing that you were right on the crotch a whole lot? Or, what were you thinking there? And I got a few phone numbers. I got to talk to them. I'll see if I have an answer for you this week if I can get a hold of them. Right now, it's too busy. They're all trying to get back home. Uh, it's amazing when the Super Bowl ends and it's all over. Unless you won the Super Bowl, the fun continues, but everything else stops. It just drops. Nobody wants to go to clubs, and that's all done. Everybody's thinking about, really, all right, time to go home. And time to kind of get together and recap and regroup. And there is a ho-hummy quietness to it all. And it's like, I remember I walked out of Super Bowls and I'd be like, it's dead, it's quiet. Or just not something that you were thinking you would see. Other than the team celebrating, the fans celebrating their victory. So it is kind of like this big hype. It's like a big high machine, and you come off the high and it just drops. The caffeine drop. Boom. Just like that. Just like that. All right. Thank you for popping in, Victoria. Her hips don't lie. Very funny, very cute. Yeah, Shakira being Lebanese and Colombian. Victoria, I think you appreciated it last night. She was, just like JLo with her Latin background, her Puerto Rican background. I think both performers showcased and sent a message about their culture. I think, her father, Shakira, being Lebanese, doing the belly dancing and the tongue calling sound. Again, let me remind people what that is, okay? Before we send it off for the new listeners. When Shakira rolled her tongue in a very odd, weird way, some people didn't understand it. It came out of nowhere. It was fun. It was different. But this is what is very popular when you celebrate and you express joy in the Middle East. When you're Lebanese, Syrian, Iraqi, okay? The rolling, calling tongue that she did last night was just that. It's called the Zagruta, with a G, Zagruta. And the Zagruta is what she did. She celebrated, she gave us a glimpse of her background a little bit. She's Latin, she's Colombian, and she brought her Colombian style, her Latin flavor, and she brought her Middle Eastern flavor last night. And I appreciated that. And she wowed me. Yeah, I liked the rope tying moment. That was it was better than the stripper pole. Okay, it was much better than the stripper pole. If you're gonna get hot and sexy, I'll go rope tying. All right, let's end it with that. I enjoyed my show with you today. I don't know if I had anything else to show you and talk to you. Uh, Anything else out there? People getting disgusted with the crotch grabbing. But Shakira, baby, you did it. Good job. I hope we don't have pop music anymore on halftime shows. Um, I really hope. I hope that doesn't happen anymore. Thank you guys for popping it. I appreciate it. Super Bowl is over. The Kansas City Chiefs are now the Super Bowl champions of Super Bowl 54. The 49ers have lost their second Super Bowl all time. For the Kansas City Chiefs, you've been to the Super Bowl 3 times, and you've now won 2 out of those 3. And you are now the champions for 1 year. For 1 year. You get to claim it, hold it together, and we'll see you next year. The Super Bowl is in Tampa Bay, Florida. Right? Tampa Bay, Florida, and then it goes to, I think, Los Angeles, and then it comes to, I think, Arizona in 2023. All right. Thank you guys, everybody on YouTube, on Facebook Live, on Global Sports Broadcasting Network.com, the live stream on GSBM. This is Hanna Time. Your host, Cornelius Brad Hanna. I'll replay the show later on today. I hope you had a good time watching the game. I hope you enjoyed the show. Have a great Monday. Be safe, be happy, and keep loving. Stop the hate. Stop the divide. All right, guys, we'll see you. We'll see you soon. All right, YouTube guys, we'll appreciate it. We'll see you on the next show. All right, guys.